History rarely gives us monsters of equal scale, but the 20th century delivered two. One ruled through fear, the other through hatred. One crushed his own people, the other targeted entire nations he labeled unworthy. Two dictators, two paths to absolute power, two systems that scarred the world in ways still felt today. And when their methods stand side by side, the question isn't which man was worse, it's how humanity ever allowed either one to rise. They came from different worlds but walked disturbingly similar roads to power. Stalin emerged from the ashes of the Russian Empire after the revolution of 1917, slowly eliminating rivals until he controlled the Soviet state with unshakable force. Hitler rose in Germany during the chaos after the First World War, turning desperation, anger, and radical ideology into a political weapon. Both men promised stability. Both men blamed enemies. Both men built their power on fear. And both convinced millions that only they could save their nations. Stalin constructed a country where surveillance was everywhere. Secret police, forced confessions, and purges against anyone suspected of disloyalty. Millions disappeared into Siberian labor camps. Entire regions lived in silence, never knowing who might vanish next. Hitler created a different but equally terrifying machine. His dictatorship fused government, military, propaganda, and racial ideology into one unstoppable force. Books burned, voices silenced, and people categorized as lesser were stripped of rights and eventually targeted for destruction. Two systems, two nightmares, both built on absolute obedience. Under Stalin, mass famines, forced collectivization, and political purges reshaped entire populations. The early 1930s saw regions starve while the state denied everything. Later, the Great Terror crushed artists, generals, workers, and even loyal party members. Under Hitler, the 1930s brought persecution that escalated into industrial-scale genocide during the Second World War. Millions were transported, imprisoned, and systematically murdered. Both regimes produced unbearable suffering, yet each carried its own horrifying logic. Stalin's violence targeted real and imagined enemies inside his borders. Hitler expanded his terror outward, turning Europe into a battlefield drenched in ideology. The Second World War revealed the true scale of their ambitions. Hitler launched invasions across Europe beginning in late 1939, dragging the world into catastrophe. Stalin, after signing a temporary pact, expanded into neighboring regions before Germany turned against him in the summer of 1941. The Eastern Front became a graveyard of nations, with tens of millions dead, cities burned, families destroyed, entire regions erased. The war ended in 1945, but the scars did not. Stalin's Soviet Union continued its repressions for years. Hitler's Germany collapsed under the weight of its crimes. One died in his bunker, the other ruled until his heart stopped. But neither ever faced justice for the suffering they unleashed. In the end, comparing Stalin and Hitler isn't about picking the greater evil. It's about understanding how two men, in one century, created systems so brutal that ordinary people were swallowed by them. Different ideologies, different targets, different methods, yet the same tragic result: unimaginable human loss. Their stories remind us that dictators don't rise from genius or destiny. They rise when fear goes unchallenged, when power is unchecked, and when people believe that one leader can solve everything alone. The real question isn't who was worse. The real question is how we prevent the next one.